What's up, X, Mr. X, one time. Thank you for the shirt, sir. I appreciate it. We're going to wait for a second for my man Killer Cow to come on. My name is Malachi. I am the founder of GoGoTix.co. Oh, there he is. Cal, you just got to press that you want to join. Hey Tracy, how are you? There we go. All right, there he goes. Live with Killswitch. My man,
What's up, bro?
The Killer.
What's going on?
Sir?
Everything good?
Yeah, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good to see you, man.
Yeah, likewise, man. You must be really bored because you, one, answered my phone call, which never happens. Two, as soon as I asked you to send me a picture, you sent it like right away. I'm like, yeah, Cal is bored out of his mind. Because normally I had to call you like 700 times for you to even answer.
Come on, man. Don't put that on me, man. Don't put that on me, man. What's up, bro?
You or Chris are like the worst about answering your phone ever.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, man.
It's all good, man. It's all good, man. How you been? Everything
good, man. Good to see you, man. I like what you're doing, man.
What's that?
I said good to see you. I like what you're doing.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. So I just wanted to do some of these because I see it's kind of a decent amount of like, there's like the battles and all that stuff going on, and kind of we're just continuing to talk about the same things that we always talk about in GoGo. So I just wanted to get on with some of the folks that, I know have a desire to see more. My objective has always been to, to try to elevate GoGo and try to make it bigger than what it already is.
Right.
And so, you and I have had multiple discussions about that
Absolutely.
in the past. So I just want to, put some positivity out there. And, hopefully, like, just have some conversation, like the conversations you and I would have on the phone anyway.
Right.
Like, why not do it live? And then hopefully some other people will,
Chime
sort of maybe be inspired, or somebody will get an idea to do something different or whatever.
Absolutely. I'm with it.
I can hear myself. Yeah. Can you hear me okay? Are you?
Yeah.
Do you hear like echo when you talk?
Nah, I don't hear it. Can you hear me? Am I good?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, but when I talk, it sounds like you have me on like loud. Maybe turn your volume down a little bit.
Okay. Let's see.
Just because I think, there's some kind of echo.
Sorry. How's that? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we're management and rapper here. We're not technical guys. So sorry, we're trying to work through it. But all right. So anyway, so there's a few folks on now. So why don't we just start with like your 30, 45 seconds or less. What's your history in GoGo?
Okay. My history in GoGo started in college. I went to Hampton University. We started a band down there to help pay my bills. Natural Causes came home. And by the time I came home, most of the big bands already knew who I was because of the big shows that we had out of town in Hampton. Became real cool with Christian Black, rapper dude.
Wait a minute, slow down a little bit, because Natural Causes, you were the lead rapper of Natural Causes.
Yeah, I was the lead talker for Natural Causes, so I was calling the shots. I was calling the songs. I was the guy that was doing most of the talking on the mic, and I actually had a rapper in my band as well. So we kind of had two rappers, but I was the lead talker.
But so did you rap too? Did you like spit?
Yeah, I didn't want to crowd him. I didn't want to get in his way. Even though I knew I could rap, I kind of let him do that. But every now and then, I would jump in and do something. So that was Natural Causes. Chris Rapidu came to me about 2004 or so, and wanted to start the What Band with another guy that's on the line right now. Wanted to start the What Band, and I played with the What Band for about 8 years. Around 2012, we had some little differences in the band. It was time to make another move, where Essence reached out. I've been with Red Essence since 2012. Been a great experience during that whole time. I've been doing rap as well. I am a rapper as well, so I've been doing my rap music as well the whole time, and that's been my whole plight.
So, but I remember that when you were looking to go to Rare Essence, you
Right.
had offers from multiple bands,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it was Backyard and Junkyard too, right?
Right.
So
Right.
what made you end up going to Rare Essence as opposed to Backyard or Junkyard? Aside
Um.
from the sage advice that you got from somebody.
Right. Well, I think basically just the kind of person I am. I don't never like to take food out of people's mouths. I don't never like. I know it's a cut. I know the music industry can be cutthroat, but my personality and how I look at things, I always feel like it's a logical way and a logical approach to things. So I noticed that Junkyard was actually the band that took my band under their wing from
Mm-hmm.
college, and they gave. I played with Junkyard when I came home from college for about 2 or 3 years, every Friday and Saturday, wherever Junkyard played, Natural Causes played, and
Yeah.
so they had the precedence of where I wanted to go, but they already had a rapper. They already had a rapper in their band, so Backyard, of course, reached out. Super Cooper, my man, Big G.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that would have been a great play, but it's not enough microphones over there, man. They fully loaded. Backyard stays fully loaded at every position. They got 3 keyboard players. They got backup drummers. They got everything works over there. So
Yeah.
they didn't, that wasn't a fit. So Rare Essence was they were in a downtime a little bit. They were transitioning. Donnell left. 32 had left. The rapper position was open. The front line just consisted of Shorty Coleon, White Boy, and Kiki. Um, and I felt like I could give them a little boost. I felt like I could get in there and mix it up. A lot of people didn't think it would be a good fit. I think because of the style that the band plays and my style. But
Really? I didn't know that.
yeah, a lot of people, yeah, they didn't think it could fit just because of the age difference, because of the style clash. But it's great musicians over there, and I just feel like if I got some good musicians, I can make stuff happen. That's just me betting on myself. But
Well,
yeah,
I know
so
that.
joined Rare Essence, and it's been fun ever since, man. Created a lot of music, brought in a whole new crowd for Rare Essence, a brand new 21 to 40 crowd. Um, and I feel like that's my role.
That's what's up. Well, that's a hell of a two pairs of shoes to fill coming after D Floyd and Deuce.
Oh,
That's a lot.
God.
That's a,
Lord,
that's a lot of pressure right there, bro.
yeah, man. It's a lot of hard work, but getting in there and getting a chance to remix a lot of those songs. Shout out to White Boy, man. He could have really stuck to his guns and say, this is the material, that works, and you got to learn this material. But he was open when I sat down to him when it was time to join the band. I told him, look, man, I'm trying to come in. I don't want to learn anybody's verses. I want to bring everything in new. I want to remix everything you got. He was like, that's gonna be a lot of work. We got a lot of songs. I was up for that, because I wanted to create my own niche, man. Like those guys are legends, and salute to them. But I couldn't come in there and be neither one of those guys. We're
Right.
nothing alike. Our styles are nothing alike. So
Right.
it works. It worked.
Well, White Boy hasn't been around for as long as he's been around for no reason.
Right.
He's got a pretty good head on his shoulders there and knows
Absolutely.
how to move through the times, because that's a pretty amazing band to have,
Right.
started in the 70s and
Right.
2020 and still, one of the top in the game, if not,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So yeah, so that's what's up, man. Well, that's you had a fairly meteoric rise there, man, to go from
Absolutely.
a sort of a college band straight
Yeah.
to the. I mean, I shouldn't say meteoric because it's not like you played in the band for 2 years and then you know what I mean. Like this
Right.
band
Right.
was 8 years or whatever,
Right.
and then 2012 is another 8 years. So yeah, that's
Right.
16 years. Dang, you're old, son.
Ah!
But so like the topics that I kind of obviously gravitate towards is the future of go-go, as opposed to just sort of rehashing the past and what's always been done before. So
Right.
where in your mind, where would you like to see, or where do you see, either where would you like to see, or where do you see GoGo in the next 5 to 10 years? Assuming, I mean, not assuming, we're going to get past this
Yeah,
coronavirus thing.
yeah,
Shows are going to start happening again.
right,
Obviously, it's going to put, and I'm of the mindset this is a perfect time for bands to reevaluate what they've been doing,
exactly.
figure out what's working, figure out what's not working,
Yep.
and adjust. You don't have any
Yes,
excuse right now. Like, you
I
know,
agree.
that you've got nothing but time to figure
Right.
this out. So, where would you like to see GoGo in 5 to 10 years, and or where do you think you're going to, where it's going to be in 5 to 10
Right. Well, the start needs to come from. We got to develop a youth movement. The youth is very important in GoGo. I'm
years?
living proof of that. Uh, I'm not youth anymore, but I'm not old in GoGo years. But I
Right.
mean, if my generation was maybe one of the last generations that were interested in GoGo. Everybody that's in their late 20s or early 30s right now pretty much don't really have didn't really have any aspirations to be a part of a go-go band. So I think if we can
Why do you
get
think that is?
I think because of the culture. My generation, you could go outside and you could go out of town and you could tell, or when you're in college, you could tell who was from the area, and it was a culture, and you could feel it, you could see it, the talk, of course, but the dress, the style, of
Yeah.
course, the music. But after my generation, kind of the 2000 babies and the 2001s and 2000, after about 2004, 2005, everybody started looking like Lil Wayne and started looking like rappers and dressing like the high fashion Versace and Louis, and they got out of the local brands, and
Mhm.
it just got chaotic for home. And I think that hurt the culture a lot because the kids growing up, and the fact that you don't see go-go on TV as much. Everything is net based, and go-go, we VHS, we cassette tapes, we CDs. That's out of there, man. Like,
That's a heavy point right there,
yeah,
and that's a lot of my that's a lot of where my problem with GoGo
right,
is. And I
right,
mean, I shouldn't say problem with GoGo. I don't have a problem. I love GoGo,
right.
but my problem with the evolution of GoGo is
Mm-hmm.
just that we're like, in terms of where the music business is, we're like 20 years behind.
Oh,
You know what
right,
I mean?
right.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm very interested in your perspective on this, because not only are you, in one of the most successful go-go bands now, and probably the most successful go-go band of all time,
Right,
arguably, whatever.
right.
But you also have a rap career. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
you've seen both sides of that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So what is it that you like? How do you approach your rap stuff differently than you approach your go-go stuff?
Well, I approach my rap stuff differently because I'm independent. So the stuff that I've learned along the way, I can apply to my rap stuff a little more than the go-go stuff, because it's kind of hard to tell somebody that's been doing it a certain way for 40 plus years that the young guy in the band has an idea of how you need to change something. That it doesn't happen overnight. So with my own stuff, I can just go do it. I can find the waves, I can find the niches, I can jump in there. I got a degree in marketing, so um, that part is done. I have connections. I can make my own maneuvers independently, but within a band, you got to kind of introduce things. In my band, you got to kind of introduce things, and you got to kind of take baby steps, and it gets there. And White Boy being a genius, he still has 40 years worth of experience in doing it a certain way.
Yeah.
So you have to show him what works.
Yeah.
And I'm
As you
just
should.
starting to
As you
get
should.
I'm, you're
Yeah.
right. It's just starting to get to that point with the band, and I've been here since 2012. So that goes to show you it just takes time. So I think that's the difference between my independent rap career. I can drop an album tomorrow. I can do something tomorrow. I can drop a single tonight. Like, that's the wave of music right now. You make it and you put it out. Go kind of makes it, sits on it, thinks about it. It's different. It's different.
Well, so I'm going to ask you a sort of a controversial question,
Okay.
because part of the underlying theme of what you're saying is it's hard to make decisions and move when you have so many people that have to be, you know, involved in that decision. Or even if it's not so many people, you know, there's just one person who's in charge,
Right.
and you
Right.
can't just make that decision yourself. Does does GoGo need to have a band? Do you have to have a band to be a go-go artist?
I'm gonna say yeah, because traditional go-go is where my heart is. That's what I want to see,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think it's far-fetched. Uh, I don't think it sounds outlandish to think that at a point in time you won't need the band aspect. I mean, if you really want to get controversial and technical, no disrespect to nobody, but I'll say this. Red's got me on here tripping.
Point.
No disrespect to nobody on here. I am a former lead talker, but when you take a go-go band to a record label, what does the lead talker? How do you convince that label that a lead talker needs to be in the budget? I'm just asking. Like, not from home. We're talking about a label. We're talking about out there where you at, Reds in Hollywood. If I was to walk into Interscope with my band and you want to give me $1 million, how can I convince you not to trim the fat off the budget? And that's the problem. So,
Well,
go-go just has
also,
to, everybody got to be accounted for,
right.
you know, on those kind of things.
Well, also, I mean, I think there's somewhat of a misnomer now that, and again, this goes to GoGo being a few years behind. The way that um, the way that you used to get a record deal is not the same way you get a record deal now. The way
Right.
you get a record deal now is by already having enough stuff going on. It's sort of like a bank.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's essentially what a record label is. It's a bank with a marketing
That's it.
department. It's really
Yep.
what it is.
Yep.
So banks don't give you a loan unless you don't need it. You know what
Right.
I mean? It's the same thing
Right.
with the record label. You don't get a record deal unless you're already popping.
Right.
And now, with the fact that you and I can just sit here and talk right now, and there's so many tools, I'm not going to say you don't need a record label. I'm not going to say that they're totally unnecessary, but they're
Right.
far less necessary than they ever were before. And the main thing that a record label, aside from money, that they can give you is access to radio.
Absolutely.
And radio is a dying medium. It's not dead
Right.
yet, you know what I mean? But it's definitely a dying medium.
Right.
So if you don't need radio, and you could do all of this stuff that you couldn't do before, you know, through social media to
Right.
get to your fan base without a whole lot of money,
Right.
what do you need a record label for?
That's true.
And I feel like that's sort of the excuse that GoGo has been making forever is, well, we need a record label. We need money. We need radio. We need this to be successful.
No.
And I think maybe part of the reason, and I could be wrong, but part of the reason why the younger cats started gravitating towards hip hop is because hip hop didn't make all of those excuses. They just
Right.
said, no, I'm
Right.
gonna,
Right.
I mean, granted, it's way easier to create music on your laptop than it is to take a 12-person band into a studio and
Right.
spend a grip of money and have everybody arguing about they want their part on the song.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And because the music industry is about songs.
Absolutely.
GoGo is
Period.
about the party, and it's two
Right.
separate things. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's cover bands, party bands all over the world
Right.
that, you know, make a decent amount of money and play on the weekends and have great times and make great, you know, sound great.
Right.
But you don't see them complaining that they're not Beyonce. So that's my thing that I get frustrated with a little bit with GoGo is that everybody wants to act like a local cover band,
Right.
and only put in that amount of effort and then complain that you're not Drake.
Right.
It doesn't
Right.
work that way. They're not even playing the same game
I
that you
agree.
are. But so we sort of digressed, and I never really got. I cut you off, I think, before you got to the answer. 5 to 10 years Where do
Um,
you want to see GoGo, or where do you see GoGo being?
in 5 to 10 years, I want to see GoGo in schools. I think within the next 5 to 10 years, you are going to see GoGo more respected on a larger front. You got bands like EU, you got bands like Rare Essence, you got bands like Junkyard. Those bands have been playing consistently. Well, I know Rare Essence has played consistently for 40 years without a break. I mean, come on, that's like rock and roll Hall of Fame stuff. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
the
So
thing.
those kind of looks right there are going to help the culture. Essentially, the biggest thing is just the music and the songwriting and the education of them. I mean, everything about GoGo just needs to be enhanced, and it needs to be put in a more marketable package, so that the world can relate with the world. I think the world is fascinated with GoGo because they don't really know everything. They just see the big crowds. They see the Mochella. They know the history. They might have came through DC at one time and they got a piece of the culture and they know about it, but they don't really know about it.
Mhm.
And I think investors are necessary, man. I think people need investors. I mean, investors are necessary.
But let me ask you this: if you had $1 million,
Right?
what would convince you to, like, first of all, investors want a return on investment.
Absolutely.
What about, what would attract you to a go-go band or a go-go artist
Right.
that would make you think that you're going to get a return on your investment?
I would say that's a hard question by me being from the culture, but I would say just the fact that there are some things in GoGo that haven't been done. So if I have an abundance of money and I want to jump out there and say, look, if I do my research and I say, so there hasn't been a GoGo, there hasn't been album wise or producer wise or songwriters haven't been bought into go-go bands. Some of your top producers haven't been bought in. Shout out to Chucky Thompson and a couple of other guys, but I mean, there aren't any. There are no Dr. Dre's that are coming to help go-go. There are no people that are jumping in to help go-go. I think that kind of stuff would make a big difference. And if the music can get better and the songwriting can get better, and the song structure and the live performances. No disrespect. I mean, and all of us have, all bands should have issues with sometimes how we look and how we perform live. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we get comfortable with playing at home, and some things we do on stage just won't fly in Texas. You know, we didn't do what we do. We don't do what we do at Fast Eddie's when we go play South by Southwest.
Yeah.
We didn't do that at NPR Tiny Desk. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you got to be able to shift those gears. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, just little things like that, man. And a lot of people put it on the older guys in the older guys in the genre are supposed to take people under their wing and teach them, but they still trying to, you know,
Yeah, I
feel
mean,
them out too.
my thing with that is that I feel like, unfortunately, I feel like that's almost been more of the problem than the solution.
Right,
Because if you're taking the advice of, and I'm not, and this is not by any means an across the board statement, because there's lots of guys, older guys that have, White Boy and
right,
many others that have a lot of knowledge that is applicable. But
absolutely,
you're looking at guys that have not, or organizations, I should say. I don't want to put it on any one person, because individual people can know what to do, but
right,
you know like, I knew what to do, but
right,
I wasn't able to manage the people that I was working with enough,
right,
in a way to make it as successful as I knew it could have been. You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
So, but the thing is if you have to be careful of who you're taking advice from, because there are also some guys that were just around and along for the ride, and not necessarily the masterminds behind the success that was had.
That's a great
And
point.
they're telling you, and they may have just been like, the hired gun or whatever,
Right.
and they're telling you, well, I was making this much money and I got paid more money
Yep.
to go out of town, and
Yep.
all these sort of misnomers about how, how the industry works. And just for me, and I mean, it's not that I'm some kind of genius or anything, but I have a booking agency where I book artists in other genres,
Right.
and I see how much these other bands make, and I know how much other bands and other artists in other genres make.
Right.
And a lot of touring artists are not even making what go-go bands make. You know
Absolutely
what I'm
not.
saying? And but the flip side of that is they're operating from an entrepreneurial mode versus an employee mode.
Right.
And so they're taking a risk to say, okay, if I work for this small amount of money now or no money now or whatever,
Right.
it could it has the potential to make me a shitload of more money later. But
That's
there
true.
doesn't seem to be a lot of long-term thinking in our genre. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then you're getting the information from guys who, you know, don't
Who are
haven't
you?
operated that way.
Right.
You know what I
Or who
mean?
are using an
So
outdated system. Right.
yeah, exactly. So I think what you said at the very beginning is the main thing, that the youth have to be engaged. And I
Right.
think that, you know, that can help in schools, but also in order for youth to be involved, and it needs to be cool again.
Right.
You know what I
The
mean?
image, the whole
And
image
it's
of it.
not cool.
Right.
Like to
Right.
the young kids, like we're just like some old dudes, and we
Right.
don't. You know what I'm saying? So how do you reinvigorate that? But also, you know, you're talking about songwriters and producers. A lot of that comes back to ego as well, because even if you have songwriters or producers that are interested, the guys in the band, well, I
Right.
rap. I want to put my rap on this, my verse on the song. I want to put my
Absolutely.
hook on the song.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you're fighting against that too. So what do you think? So based on what I just said about the youth, do you feel like is it too late? Like, are we all too old to make this happen now? Or
Well, I don't think we're too old to make it happen, but we gotta really look into a couple of things. We gotta look into marketing, man. Like the marketing has to be divided up. Shout out to my man Frank Bryant. We used to play basketball together. He has Learning with GoGo.
yep.
To me, it's kind of genius. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of genius. I mean, if you can take that platform, tweak it, and move some stuff around, and throw some ideas out there creatively, and that's something that the smaller kids can grow up with. If it can be tweaked and it can grow up together and grow with them, I
Mm-hmm.
think that could be an outlet. But as far as marketing, we just got to make it look cool. We got to get involved with social media, man. We got to do better with our videos. We got to do better with our, like, again, music production. Like we got to make it cool. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So and I think that's why, somebody like me, I think that's a part of my success, because I really don't stay one way. Like
Mm-hmm.
I kind of move around and do a lot of different things. I love bounce beat, man. I'm not old. You know what I'm saying? I
I
like
love it too.
congos. I like everything. Like my generation likes everything. Like Polo and them are older than me. Like people think because I'm in Rare Essence that I'm old. No, like
Yeah.
Polo and Bo and all them are older than me. You know what I'm saying?
Bo just came on here too. He fried you,
Yeah,
bro.
like they older than me, bro. But I'm gonna tell you why Bo is a genius. Now that's the perfect person that knows how to reinvent himself, and he knows the waves, man. Like I love Bo for that, because he knows the new waves. He knows the waves. He's in tune with what's going on, and he know how to make it work. And I don't think he get enough credit for that. You know what I'm saying? Because Bo been doing this for a long time. I seen Bo on Metro World.
Oh, for
Like
real.
I seen Bo on Metro World getting it, and to see what he doing now with the bands, man, and for him to be around so long, he a genius, man, for like knowing how to catch the waves and see what's hot. So I think knowing how to catch the waves, or even see them before they come. You know what I'm saying? If you can see the waves that coming, and you're like, look, this about to be what's going on. We need to jump on this and get this done. Because a lot of times, go do stuff when it's late. Like the wave then pass by, and somebody say, "Oh yeah, that was kind of cool. We're gonna do that." It's gone. Like just that fast, bro. It's gone. So, I mean, that's just my opinion, man. We got to get hip to the wave. And we just gotta make things more cool. We gotta be out in the community more. We just gotta be in tune to what's going on, and I think people will start understanding that it's pretty fucking cool to be from somewhere where you got your own music, your own culture. How that's not cool though? Like that's like going to New Orleans and telling them jazz ain't cool. They're gonna be like,
Right.
what? Like going
Right.
to Nashville, like, man, country music ain't cool. What?
Right.
Like, so it's like we don't take that approach. And I also think we spoil, man. I think go-go was so accessible. It's not really a commodity. Like, it's not really something that people like, man, you know what? I need, well, some of the diehards will say I need it. But some people like, yeah, I've been to, if you take a poll, people might, if you go on your Facebook groups, them controversial groups that I get clips and screenshots from people saying, if you
Yep.
ask them when the last time they've been to a go-go,
Right.
then you're going to see where all the confusion and controversy, they don't even know what's going on. Like, I could pull a 21-year-old that comes see Essence every week, or a 21-year-old that go see TCB every week, and they'll know more about it than the people that have been around go-go for 40 years because they come out every week.
Right.
So
Well, I think that's also because of, people are older. Like they got kids, they got
that's
jobs, they
true.
got whatever.
Right.
And the last go-go I went to was TCB in
Mm-hmm.
Sunset Boulevard in East Hollywood, bro.
I wish I could have, man,
Man, it was awesome. It was awesome. So what do you think the rappers have, include yourself, but
right.
say GoLink, Shy Glizzy, even Wale, whoever. What do you think? I mean, I guess Wale even more specifically because he's obviously used a lot of go-go in his
Yeah.
music. I know. I talked to. It's probably about 2 years ago, and I talked to GoLink's manager about helping them sort of produce a go-go album. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
they move forward with it or not,
Right.
but what do you think the rappers have figured out about being successful that we haven't?
Well, I think identity. Like if you look at the rappers from home, they on top of the marketing, they on top of the clothing, they on top of the lingo, they on top of the beats, the production, they on top of all that. So go-go has a traditional way that we play. So that means we're gonna have to open up the creativity. We're gonna have to we're gonna have to we're gonna have to do more things that's not just our culture involved, but just nationally what our producers doing. We need those sounds. Okay, these flows right here, those flows are sprayed out. Like, if anybody listens to me rap, I give you 5, 6, 7 different flows a show. You're gonna like one of them. That's my formula. You gonna like something. So if you could say, okay, well, them flows is played out, we need to get on these. We need to do this. We need to reinvent these, or we need to go here, or jump out there and do something creative, man. You can't get stagnant, and I think that's been a problem with go-go, at least traditional go-go. It gets stagnant sometimes, and you say, well, nah, this works for us. This works for us. But then when it stops working, you don't have nothing else in the bag that you can kind of pull to and say, all right, that was working for us. What we gonna do now? Well, if you're thinking that, it's too late.
Right, right.
So
Well, I will say I have an artist that on my booking roster who I've had to cancel 2 tours for them. One of them because of the coronavirus, one for another thing. But they make like $10,000, $10,000 to $20,000 a month just off YouTube and merch,
love.
and that's it. As a matter of
That's
fact, in November of last year, because of it was November or December, I can't remember which one, but one of the tours got canceled. So they had a whole bunch of merch that they were about to have on sale on the tour,
right.
but they obviously the tour got canceled, so they sold it. They made $80,000 in 1 month off of merch.
Now tell me this. Tell me this. Now, did they make that from touring and selling at the tours, or did they make that
No,
by
no, no. That's
doing?
what I'm saying. The tour got canceled, so
But
they
I mean,
sold it
okay.
all online. So
So,
that's
but
my
so
point.
was their formula social media, and they're just constantly putting out content for social media?
They put out a video, like an MTV level quality video, like once a month. Sometimes they'll put out like 4 in a month. You know what I mean? Because that's all they do. Now, granted, they're in a different situation. That's all they do. You know what I mean? But they, you know, they originally were living on Crenshaw.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now they live on Melrose because they, you know, they cut their expenses. They did what they had to do to get their creative vision across.
Right.
And then it snowballed and it worked. You know, granted, they do some gimmicky stuff. They do some stuff that I wouldn't do were it my thing, but it works for them.
But it works for
you know
them,
what I mean?
right?
Some controversial stuff. But so sort of on that note, so say there's 20-year-olds that you know that want to start a go-go band, right? They're like, I love this stuff. I don't really, you know why it's not getting bigger than it is.
Right.
What advice do you have for them?
Well, first, I would tell them to be themselves. So be yourself. If you are a hip hop band that want to add go-go elements, do that. If you want to just bring the wave back and y'all want to be the youth movement that say, no, we're going to play go-go like our forefathers and traditionally this is what we're going to do that. But first you got to find out who you are if that works for you, because we're going to be able to tell if it's real or not. Like if somebody puts a go-go, just like you see them, no disrespect, but you see them out of town go-go bands from like Texas and that, or, you know, somewhere South Carolina that aren't really culture, but they love the culture so much that
like
they started.
Martin and those guys, like
exactly.
yeah.
When you see to me, they kind of exploiting it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? To me,
I would say this is what I would tell. I'll tell you a little story about that. Now, I don't know Sean Martin, but I do know RC and the Grits. They're they're my client, Erykah Badu's band.
Dope.
And they do shows together a lot. They do shows called Grits and Go-Go. They do them together.
I'm hip.
And I would tell you that I had booked RC and the Grits out here in LA at a place called the Mint, and they had a guy playing with them who is not a core member of the band, but he's like a core member of their team. He doesn't tour with them all the time, but he was playing the MPC. I found out as the show was going on that he's the guy that produced On and On from Erykah Badu, the very first hit she had, right?
Oh, wow.
Pivotal song in my teenage years, you know, was what turned me on to neo soul, blah, 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 whatever.
Right.
When I told this dude that I had played for Northeast Groovers, he almost did a backflip. Like, I'm telling you, these guys.
Sean knows it. Sean and your guy, I'm sure they know it. But it's the ones that don't know it, and they kind of like, it's weird. It's like where we know, okay, so you can look at Sean, you can look at your guy, and you can look at some of these other guys and say, like Lettuce, you can kind of look at them and say, y'all really know what's going on. Like, y'all are hip, you know what I'm saying? But it's some people that take it, and then you'll be like, well, we just know that that's not authentic. We're not knocking it, because I saw somebody on Tiny Desk do it, and it was dope. It was a funk band.
I need to know who that is.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up for you, and I'll get it for you. It's a funk, like a techno band. They threw some go-go in it because Tiny Desk is in DC, and you can hear it, and you can hear that they knew the concept, but you just were like, oh, that's not authentic. You know what I'm saying? So that's my point. Like, Sean and them, you could tell they studied the culture, and you could tell, you know, that they know what's going on. But I just think, like, it's weird. It's just weird. It's weird.
So back to the kids, because I think and I don't have an answer for it, you know, and which is unusual. You know, I usually have an answer for everything, but I don't know how. I think that. Well, first of all,
I got one for you. I got one for you.
What's that?
I got one for you after you make this point. I'm gonna ask you a question.
Well, I think it depends on how you define success also. If you define success in the music industry as Drake, then that's one thing. But if you define success in the music industry as Lettuce, that's another thing. You know what I mean? Maybe a lot of people don't know who Lettuce is. They're a funk jam band that's been around for 20-some years. I sort of know the drummer. He's been a huge go-go fan for a very, very, very long time. They're all white guys, except, well, there's like 2 black guys in the band. They are huge proponents of go-go, you know, but they tour a lot, and they can sell out theaters and all kinds of stuff, but they're not Drake level. They're not selling out stadiums. They're not on the radio. They're not on, you know, on your hip hop blogs and stuff all the time. But the only thing they do is play music for a living, and they make very good livings doing it. You know what I mean? So what's the definition of success,
That's
though?
the conversations that I have with Guru and with you know, when I saw Knife Wonder in passing, I didn't get a chance to really have a conversation. But me and Guru were like, you know, we like super tight. So
Mm-hmm.
my thing is this. For example, myself. So let's say I came home in 2005 and started playing go-go from 2005 to 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I was to come home and sign a record deal in 2005 for whatever the advance was, I think some of the advances back then were like 100,000, 50,000, 20,000, whatever it is. Sign that advance. Take a risk of being shelved, or take a risk of anything happening to where I don't recoup that money and pay that money back so I can make some money.
Yep.
I come home and play go-go all these years. I make a little bit of money or whatever I make in go-go, in music. Not even my independent rap stuff, just go-go. How can you tell? Some of my friends that are in California sometimes always be like, well, Kyle, man, I just wish you would have just pursued rap, man. I just wanted to rap, man. I just think, I don't know. But how can you say that when the biggest risk was taking that risk to try to sign that record deal and recoup that money and leaving it in somebody else's hands and maybe not being successful, when I feel like being able to play music for 15 years and make money and also have an opportunity to do my rap stuff as well independently, that's success to me. So
Right.
again, that's your point of what is success. When I look at you, I know all of your background because we used to talk on the phone every day for
Yeah,
like
until
2
you
years.
stop answering my phone calls, you
Oh,
motherfucker.
whatever. We talked on the phone every day, so I knew your vision. I knew everything you wanted to do, and I saw you execute that. So to me, you are successful. Now, of course, me and you are we humble guys, and we always say, I wish I could have just did this. But if you go back and look over what you've done on your resume, I don't think nobody can say you're not successful. Besides
I
someone that
appreciate that.
doesn't know or has a different idea of what success is.
Yep.
Drake is 1 in a million, bro.
Yep.
Like, and people don't know how much goes into making Drake. Like,
Yep.
it costs a lot of money to make Drake. Drake didn't
Yep.
just come out like Drake.
Well, Drake was an independent success also before he
Exactly.
even signed with Cash Money through Super.
Exactly.
Yep. Yep.
Exactly. So
So
I
yeah,
mean, that's what success is. It's all defined. Some people would look at some of the go-go artists. I don't want to say no names, so I don't want to disrespect nobody, and it's not negative, but I just don't want to put nobody on the spot. But it's some very talented go-go artists that people kind of discredit because they're in go-go, and I'm like, but he'll smoke you talent. Like,
right,
what are
right.
you talking about? Like, this dude has been doing this musically. He's this. Like, these guys' resumes are crazy, and just because you see them making a living on stage every night, a lot of people kind of take that like, I mean, he in a band or he in a nah, bro. Like, it's some classical musicians in go-go. It's some voices that are out of this world. It's some songwriting talents that's in bands. Like, I just think people judge. They judge. Their judgment be kind of off. So again, success is all on what you think success is. Don't let other people tell you what success is. You know what success is. So my question to you is this: Do you? Everybody wants GoGo to go national, right? Do you want GoGo to go national? Or is GoGo ready to go national, or is GoGo fine here and just getting some looks, the little looks that we get?
You're asking me personally?
Yeah, that's
Well,
something that
I
I
mean,
kind of
you
want
already
to.
know the answer to that. I definitely wanted to go national. That was the whole
Right.
reason I started Mambo Sauce, was to do that.
Okay.
Um, I have tried some other things in the past to try to further that notion, but have consistently run into a good amount of brick walls,
Right.
and I feel like a lot of that has to do with the overarching sentiment in GoGo that this is the way we've done things. So this is the way they're supposed to be done.
Right.
If you don't do them this way, then it's not go-go.
Right.
And so while I certainly respect that, and I think that there's room for both, in my opinion. Do I want Go to go national and or international, and then like no go-go bands still play 3-4 times a week in DC? Absolutely not. I don't think there's any reason why both things can't happen simultaneously.
Right.
I do think that it's extremely difficult to make things work with a huge band, which is why people don't do it anymore. I do think, in my personal opinion, and this is just my opinion, that go-go is defined by the percussion, which
absolutely.
Because if the first second you heard Jill Scott, It's Love, or you heard A. Marie, One Thing, or you heard the Tiffany Haddish song that came out more recently, there was no lead talker, there was no call and response, there was no band, it was just percussion. That was played in a very specific pattern that makes it go-go. And I think that and I wholeheartedly disagree with people that say that downbeat is not go-go. I absolutely think it's go-go, in the same way that, you know, Melly Mel is hip hop, and so is Lil Uzi Vert. Like, there's different kinds of hip hop, but they're still hip hop. There's still the core elements are still there. And so I don't necessarily believe that go-go has to be created by a band. Now, is that the best form of it right now? Yeah, because it's very hard to create go-go in a way that moves us. When it's not from a band, because it's a very energy-based art form. And it's the energy is a communal energy. And if you don't have that communal energy, it's very difficult to do it. Is it impossible? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And my personal opinion is that the future of go-go and the youth of go-go will not be, and if it is to make a step into the national scene, will not be with a 10-piece band. You know what I mean? I mean, if you recall, it doesn't seem so abnormal now, but Marvel Sauce was the smallest go-go band in history when I put them together, which was 7 people. Now, some historians may say there was some other band that I've never heard of that was, but I mean, bands of note were much larger than that. And I did that on purpose, you know what I mean? Because I knew the more opinions that you have going on, the more difficult it is to get things done. You know what I mean?
And financially,
it's very hard to get all those people on the same page. And even like what happened with me, I thought everybody was on the same page, and then it turned out that they really weren't. You know what I mean? So, yes is the answer to your question. I do want go-go to go national. Do I struggle a lot with having the bandwidth to try to help make that happen. I struggled with even doing this, because I was like, am I just spinning my wheels? It seems like most of the only people that seem to get it when I talk to them are the people that are our age. And I feel like we're probably too old to be the ones to make that happen. I mean, at least from the stage, not necessarily from behind the scenes, but from the stage. And I just don't know and don't really see that many younger people making strides. I mean, the caveat being a lot of the like Beat Your Feet Kings videos and stuff. I mean, I love that. That's why we repost it on GoGoTix all the time, because the video quality is great. The audio quality is great. It's engaging. It makes people want to look. It looks good. It's, you know what I mean? Just what you're talking about from the marketing perspective, it looks cool. Like if I was, you know, a 24-year-old white kid in Idaho, like I would look at that and be like, that's fucking cool. I want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? Not that that's the barometer of success as a 24-year-old white kid in Idaho, but I'm just saying, like, expanding beyond the fan base that we already have. You know what I mean? So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
You did. And I asked you that because you know, it's some people that have that question. I've been in some rooms and people are like, I mean, go-go is already nationally known, but how far do y'all want it to go before it gets watered down and it's not even go-go no more? You know, I get that a lot.
Yeah, but you can't say that that's what's going to happen. And you
Right.
know what I'm saying? Just
Right.
because people have like that's the thing that I push back against. Is we go, oh well, it's always been this way, so it's always going to be that way. It's always been that way, and it's always going to be that way until it isn't.
Right. I
You know what
agree.
I'm saying?
I
Like
agree.
nobody knew that they wanted to hear. Like I hear the pushback from the bands all the time. Like the covers, oh well, you got to play what the people want to hear. You got to play what the people want to hear. And other people want to come dance. That's what they want to hear.
Right.
Nobody knew they wanted to hear "Welcome to DC" until we made "Welcome to DC."
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
So just because in the past, like people have tried it and it didn't work in the way that they tried it, doesn't mean that it can't ever work if it's put a different way. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like there was MySpace, there was Friendster, there was whatever
Right.
before,
Right.
and Facebook came along, and then Instagram came along. It's sort of the same concept, but it's been twisted a little bit. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right. Well, I
So
mean, perfect
why can't
example.
the same thing happen for GoGo?
What a perfect example, like when you look at Instagram, when I was one of the first people, I was one of the first people that got on Twitter, from our culture.
I remember that.
And Twitter changed when Facebook, they took some stuff from Facebook. Facebook took some stuff from Twitter. Instagram started popping, but as soon as Snapchat started popping, they was like, man, we got to start bringing the filters in the lives and the videos, 30-second minute videos over here. So, I mean, if you look at that concept alone, GoGo got to just kind of get in the mix, man. Like it's got to be some creatives or some influencers that could give that perspective into GoGo
Well,
and
I'm
to
looking
say,
at one.
well, yeah, and I'm looking at one too. So but that's two of us though. So,
Right.
and we've been at this for a minute. Like you say, that this conversation is nothing different than the phone
Right.
conversations that we had, everywhere. So, I mean, if GoGo can just find a way to break the barriers of just being the same old GoGo and kind of open it up, then I think that'll be a big change. And it's if they want to do it, bro. Like we got all like you got all these ideas. I got ideas. It's some of my I see a lot of people on my line that got ideas and vibes. But if the people in charge, or if the higher ups, or if the deal breakers, or if they don't,
There aren't any.
well,
Fuck
yeah,
that.
well,
We're the people in charge.
I agree. I agree.
Yep.
And I can say that from an independent level. But
Yep.
when you're in a band, like and like I know, you got ideas, it might go astray, and then somebody else does the idea, and you're sitting at home like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah. I feel. Well, I'm going to try something real quick.
okay,
This is my first time doing this.
cool.
So I don't know if this little question button is going to set up the Q&A, but yeah. So
Okay.
I want to open it up for Q&A,
Mm-hmm.
and so that if people have questions or whatever
Cool.
for you.
Cool. We got about 40 people in here. Whatever they want to, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, so I did it, but I don't know if it's working or not. Let me see. If you have a question, hold on. My producer, I think, is figuring it out for me. My producer is my wife.
Of
So
course.
So I set it up, but I don't want to turn them off. I want to turn them on.
Okay.
If you have a question, press the little. I think you just press the little question mark thing at the bottom of the live. And Mo, you laughing at me because I don't know how to work this, bro?
I'm gonna test it.
Oh wait, I think one came up. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Tracy, I can see it.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Okay. All right. So so I can see it. So if you have questions, Tracy, did you just press the question mark thing underneath? Is that how you were able to ask the question? Merch, baby. Where can people get the Killer Cow cup?
Man, you can hit me up on IG, kill_switch. You can also go to killercowtheanimal.com. Hit me on Twitter, killer_cow. Whatever you need. I got the merch, the wristbands. We got the cups. We got the hats. I got shot glasses.
Damn, son.
I got a bunch of stuff over there. I got a bunch of stuff going on, man.
That's what's up.
I gotta send you some stuff. I still got some t-shirts upstairs. 1 second.
Yeah, man. Send me something. I need something. Okay, so I don't know. I mean,
Shout
So
out to
Tracy
shout out to
figured
the
out how to do it.
good
So if
people, the
anybody has any
Royals.
questions, you just press the question mark thing at the bottom. Um, boom, t-shirts. Okay, here we go. We got some.
Back.
Okay, so the first one is from our good friend,
My
Mr.
God.
Bootsy Vegas, i.e. Sally E from OP Tribe.
The legendary.
If you call his phone, he has some young lady on there saying all these other names that he has, but I can't remember all they are, like Sarsippius Solomanagic Jackson the Third or something. I'm not sure exactly what it is.
Thrusting Timberlake.
Yeah, Boston. So my good friendship E. All right, so his question is, what's the best go-go song that should have went far and didn't, and why? Why didn't it go hard?
It's so many.
Why didn't it go far? I'm sorry.
It's so many. Let's see. Let's go song. Dang, bro. Dang, that's a good question, E. What you think, Rez? What you got on your mind?
So one of my favorite joints was back in the '90s was "Test Me" by Intimate Groove. It's "Good versus Evil." I think was the real song.
Yes.
And I used to, when I was in college in Montana, I had a radio show on the college / public radio station, and I would play that instrumental every night for my intro to my show. And I just felt like it had more, like it was still authentic go-go, but it was cranking.
And
But
that little
had
melody.
enough elements that I felt like people that weren't already go-go fans
Yep.
would gravitate to it.
That little melody, that little high pitched melody in the background was like money. Like whoever whoever played that was money.
Yeah. I felt like it was a sample from something, but I can't remember what it was from. Okay, so the next.
You know what? I think
Oh, that's right. You didn't answer yet.
Yeah, I think I like Raw Image Shake It Out, man.
Yeah,
I think that joint should have went a little further. I just argued somebody the other day. They were talking about all the bands and this, and I kind of was like, I would put like Pure Elegance's little 3 or 4 hit joints up against like anybody's joints. Like,
one leg up. Yep.
They tough. Like they tough. Shout out to Pure Elegance.
I made if you're on Spotify, I made for GoGoTix, I made two playlists on Spotify. One is like 90s go-go, and both of those songs are on there, and the other one is like classic go-go.
Yeah, I need that. I got you on that. So I don't know. I would say I like your choice. I like Raw Image. I would say Raw Image. Shake It Out. I'm sure I'm missing a few just because we know so much go-go and we know so many songs. But good question, E. Good question, bro.
All right, so Unicorn Vibes has a question. Why do you think go-go is so hard to go mainstream? Is it the mind? I mean, it was 2 questions, but it was the same thought. Why do you think it's so hard to go mainstream? Is it the mindset?
I think it's the mindset, and I think it's the resources as well. Go-go really doesn't have a model to go after. So a lot of, when you look at New York and Atlanta, they kind of had some people before them that could kind of show them the ropes and pull them up on things. You know, if you're a rapper in New York, you knew you had to get with Diddy at some point. If you were in Atlanta, you knew you had to get with Jermaine Dupri or Outcast folks, what's their name? Dungeon Family. You knew you had to get with certain people out LA. You knew you had to get with certain people that could pull you up. I don't want to use that as an excuse, but I just feel like I see your face. I don't.
Yeah, I'm gonna push back on that a little
I know.
bit.
I don't want to use that as an excuse, but I think all that helps, Rez. I know your feelings on it. I just think it all helps when you have a mentor or somebody that can kind of pull you up a little bit. Like,